This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 1024 of Horse Tip Daily. A different horse tip, a different equine topic, a different equestrian expert every day. Horse Tip Daily brings the world of equine knowledge to you, one day at a time. Greetings, horse people. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today's tip is an excerpt from the Driving Radio Show. Coachman David Saunders answers Glenn's bucket list of questions about getting horses and humans ready for a parade and the value of alerting security in advance. And we'll get right to our tip after this important message from Kentucky Performance Products.
This Nutrition Minute is brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products, the company that simplifies your search for research-proven nutritional supplements at kppusa.com.
The horse that matters to you matters to Kentucky Performance Products. Researchers have confirmed that as horses age, they naturally become less sensitive to insulin and more susceptible to health problems caused by too much sugar in the diet. One way to reduce the sugar content in a horse's diet is to replace sugar-laden grains with a high-fat supplement. Fat is an extraordinary energy source. It is readily utilized by the horse and contains more than 2 times the calories of sugary grains. Equijewel Stabilized Rice Bran is an excellent fat supplement. It contains a balanced calcium to phosphorus ratio and won't cause mineral imbalances when added to the diet. Its all-natural ingredients are high in healthy fat and fiber. Best of all, Equijewel allows owners to easily replace the calories previously supplied by sugary grains. When you need to add healthy calories to your horse's diet, choose Equijewel. To learn more, visit Kentucky Performance Products at kppusa.com.
Today I just thought we have to ask about getting ready for parades. I've gone with Wendy with her horses to parades a couple times, and everybody who listens to the show knows they haven't worked out well. So, and I'm not. That's not a secret. They all know it hasn't worked out well. But so getting ready for a parade is a whole different thing. And the problem with getting ready for a parade, whether you're driving one horse or 2 horses or 4, is that you can't get 10,000 people to line up along a parade route for you to practice. So that's tough, right? I mean, that's hard.
Exactly. Well, parades are kind of people love to hate parades because it's a double-edged sword. You really want the attention, and if the horses go well and everything goes well, it's wonderful. But if you're stuck behind a marching band or stuck behind whatever, a float that breaks down and your horses won't stand still, then you can kind of get into all sorts of trouble. So,
to expand upon that, it seems like every parade I've ever been in, you spend more time standing still than you do moving.
Exactly.
It's just start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. And that's tough on the horses.
Absolutely. But having said that, most of the parades I've done have been royal parades, and this one is a Disney parade. So it's kind of slightly different. The royal parades, as you know, don't stop. You just keep moving all the time, and you move at a certain pace because you have to be at certain places at certain times. So there are differences in parades, but most of the parades I've been used to are parades that obviously have a great deal of people, but you're continually moving.
So now, how do you get them used to? You're out there at the farm, at Gloria's place with the horses, which is a beautiful, serene, quiet place. So how do you get the horses used to that, to that noise and the hubbub and the people waving flags and, bands and drums and everything that goes on at a parade?
Well, with these particular horses that we bought in Spain, they'd all been to the ferias, so they were kind of used to bands, and they were used to lots of people looking at them.
Right.
And this particular breed of horse, the Spanish horse, really love people, so it's not so much of a problem. But generally, what you need to do is we called it in the Royal Mews sights and sounds. And we would take them into the indoor arena first and play loud music and try to wave flags and try to just simulate what would happen during a parade.
Now, did you have them in hand at that point, or were you driving them when you started doing that?
Well, driving or riding. You generally need to be either having them hooked to a carriage or sitting on their backs, because that's the safest place to be, rather than just leading them.
Right.
But the more they can get used to, the better. But the interesting thing with horses that have come from the Royal Mews, for instance, we were at Windsor Castle, which is, as you know, is out 25 miles from London, and Windsor Great Park's a nice open park. And the head coachman would call me and said, "Oh, we're sending down a horse for you to try, for His Royal Highness to drive, blah, blah, blah." And he'd say, "Oh, the horse is fine. It's used to double-decker buses and black cabs and the streets of London and all the rest of it." And the horse was. But here's the problem, is that when there's a lot of hubbub going on, the horse has so much data coming into its brain, it kind of can't disseminate it all. But then I'd get them to Windsor Castle and it'd be dead quiet, and a cock pheasant would get out of the bushes and the horses would be frightened to death. So you have to kind of use that logic to its conclusion. And funnily enough, the more noise you make, the better they are, the horses. It's kind of one of those weird things that the more distractions there are, it kind of keeps them more interested. Whereas if there's less distractions, they concentrate on that particular distraction, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you can't focus on any one thing necessarily.
Absolutely, and there's so many things going and coming all the time. But we did in the Royal Mews, we did try to get them used to it. But of course, you can't. It's kind of like practicing. I know a lot of your listeners are pleasure driving people and combined driving people, and you can practice that dressage all day long. You can practice that marathon all day long at home, but there's nothing quite like doing it at a show when you've got it's not just the atmosphere of all those people, it's the pressure that's on you as a driver. And when you're driving in a parade, it's not like
there's an energy. It's an energy that you can't replicate.
Absolutely. But yes. It can either make you or break you. Now, I'm one of those people that's always been a great competitor, and quite honestly, the more people cheer, the better I perform. And if you're not like that, it can affect the horses. So I just get more confident as I draw that energy from the crowd. So for me, doing a parade I'm kind of in seventh heaven. So I kind of enjoy it. But you still have to detach yourself a little bit from the roaring crowd, because you have to make sure you're doing your job. You have to make sure you're watching horses and making sure you're picking the reins up correctly, and making sure that at Disney that we didn't drive and get the wheel trapped in the tram tracks and stuff like that. So there's an awful lot of things to listen to as well.
And of course, when you're doing a parade, you want to have a groom or somebody with you that knows what the heck they're doing in case things do go south. So will you have somebody, will you have somebody with you that in case something goes south, yes, that you'll have a header that knows what they're doing?
Absolutely. We're going to have, there's going to be 2 expert horsemen in character costumes from Disney walking alongside in the parade. And then I'll have Michelle, who works with me here at Gloria. And actually, when we did the rehearsal the other day, Gloria's granddaughter, Amy Golosano, she came with us as well. And it's good that's, again, all part of the confidence thing. If something goes wrong, they're told just to watch me. Don't watch the crowd. Don't get carried away in the glory of anything. Just watch the horses and watch me. And so you have to give this impression of enjoying, and you are enjoying the parade, but you're watching what's going on all the time. It's like the royal parades I did. If you had politicians or dignitaries in your carriage, I mean, people could do anything, throw things at them, throw things at the horses and stuff like that. So you've got to enjoy the parade and do the job of the parade. Stay not too close to the carriage in front of you, but not too far behind from it. Make sure you prepare for the turn so you don't go off the road, all those sort of things. But you still have to enjoy the parade, but it's you have to remember you're doing a job as well.
So how long did it take you from with these horses? How long should you spend doing the desensitization? If somebody's looking at doing a parade, do they spend, is it a 6-month process? Is it a year process? Is it depend on the horse?
The first rule of horses is there are no rules. So it's like saying, how long is a piece of string? Every horse's character is different, and every breed of horse is different. These Spanish horses, they actually love the crowd. And all these horses came from Spain, so they've been used to being in the bull ring. They've been used to being at the farriers. They've been used to having lots of people around them. So for them, it wasn't so difficult. If you've got something that's got more blood, a thoroughbred, then you need to spend more time desensitizing. I'll tell you a little story. His Royal Highness Prince Philip, I worked for him for 20 years. And the Queen has 2 birthdays. She's one of those people that has 2 birthdays, the lucky woman. She has an official birthday and her real birthday. And her official birthday is sometimes called the Trooping of the Colour. And the Queen would ride and review her troops, the Foot Guards, in Horse Guards Parade in London. And generally, the Queen, Her Majesty, would ride a horse that came from Canada, actually, a horse called Burmese, a mare, a Canadian mare. And His Royal Highness said to me one winter's day when we were out driving, he said, "Oh, I always have to ride these police horses when I do this Trooping of the Colour. I'd really like to ride one of my own horses. Which horse would be the best?" And I said, "Well, Solomon's the best, sir. He was a thoroughbred Cleveland Bay Cross, gelding." And he said, "Oh, well, I'm going to ride him for the Trooping of the Colour." This was probably February, and the Trooping of the Colour's in June. So he said, "I'm going to ride him." So I then had to prepare this horse. Well, of course, this horse had been in all sorts of parades with blinkers on. Now he's going to be ridden. So the first thing I had to do is approach him with a bear skin on. Do you know what a bear skin is?
Yeah, just the skin of a bear.
No.
No?
If you look, no. That what the British Foot Guards wear bear skins on the top of their heads.
Oh, yeah.
Those
Okay.
big
plumy hats. Yeah.
And that's to keep them all so they look bigger than they actually are. You know, it's kind of an optical illusion. It's to make the British men look taller than they actually are. If you're small, wear a big hat is the answer to that. But anyway, so now you try to approach a horse with a bear skin on, and try to actually sit on a horse with a bearskin on. So that was the first task that I had to overcome, was get this horse used to a bearskin. And then the second thing is to mount the horse with a saber on, because obviously, you know, being an officer, he's carrying a saber. So I went through all that, and we played music, and when they present the colours, the Queen's the colours of the battalion that's presenting them to the Queen, they actually lower them in front of the Queen as she's mounted. So I had a couple of my boys with multicoloured flags and put them in front of the horse and waved them around the horse, and it was fascinating because the year before someone had shot at the Queen with a starting pistol, and Burmese had jumped, and there was big panic and all the rest of it. So I said to my second in command, Brian Stanley, I said, "I'm going to get a 22 pistol with some blanks, and we're going to get this horse used to, because I don't want it to move if there's any shots fired." So I procured a 22 pistol, and believe you me, that's difficult in England, and some blanks. So in the school, I said to him, "Just stand in the middle, and I'll ride round and fire a shot off. Every time I nod, you fire a shot. Bang, bang." And in the end, I was carrying the pistol, and I was firing it between the horse's ears, and the horse was fine. So then I had this brilliant idea, Glenn. I thought, "Brian, go out into the home park, hide in the bushes. I'm going to come down this particular lane. I want you to hide in the bushes, and I want you to come out and shoot that gun at me."
Ooh.
Okay. Because I wanted to simulate someone outside, not in the indoor arena, coming to shoot me. Well, really, it was not a great plan, because I'd forgot to tell all the security. Luckily, the Queen wasn't in residence, but I'd forgot to tell all the security men. So Brian goes out there in the Land Rover, jumps in the bushes. I come riding by. He jumps out, bang, bang, bang. Within seconds, they've wrestled poor Brian to the ground, got handcuffs on him, got all sorts of things on him. And I'm trying to say, no, he's with me.
We're practicing.
Yes, we're practicing. And of course, then I got told off by the police. "Well, you should have told us you were going to do this." I said, "Well, it just came to me, you know." And you know the way I am, Glenn. I kind of, fly by the seat of my pants. So it was kind of one of those things. But the point I'm trying to illustrate is that, and the horse never moved, by the way. But you can just do what you can to assimilate what's going to happen, at the parade. But because you can never do everything, so always be prepared. There's lots of other things you can do. You can block the horse's ears up, with some cotton wool or some plugs or something like that. But I find the more that, and you can close their blinkers in and all the rest of it. But I found generally, and remember there are no rules, the more they can hear, the more they can see, the more they can smell, the better it is for them. So there's
and
no...
then your work, you do voice commands a lot with your horses. So can they hear? I'm amazed that they can hear over the crowd, which can get pretty loud sometimes. But they can. I mean, they pick you out. And
Absolutely. I saw you posted the other day on Facebook some pictures of Prince Philip driving that 8-horse hitch of Budweiser's.
Yeah, which you had talked about in the last show. Yeah,
exactly. And Prince Philip was amazed because he said, well, how do I tell them to walk on? They're so bloody far away. And the guy just said, just kiss. And Prince Philip said, I just went, and they just all moved off because you're part of a team. And the horses are bonded with you as a driver, and no matter what else is going on, you're part of the team, and you have to impose your will, your character on them. And that's something that's difficult to teach people, of course, but you must always be in control of your horses, whether it's mentally, physically, by voice control or whatever. But you've always got to keep in control of your horses. And, of course, the more you work with the horses, the better they get at it.
And there you have it. For links to our today's guests, topics, and products, go to horsetipdaily.com. You can have all of your favorite Horse Radio Network shows with you wherever you go by downloading the free app for iPhone or Android. Just go to your app store and search Horse Radio Network to do it today. It's quick, it's free, and it's easy. And this podcast has been brought to you through the generous support of Kentucky Performance Products and listeners like you. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.